If y'all can hear me, press 1 in the chat. And also make sure you hit the like button upon entry. Right now, I'm just sharing the link on various platforms so I can get as many viewers over here as possible. All right. All right, I'm gonna just wait for a couple more people to come in, and then we will go ahead and get started. What's going on, Treehouse Party 83 and Shotgun Shogun 305? Yeah, if there's any trolls in here, make sure that you to my mods to remove them. Because you know they're gonna come out to try to play today, especially on this topic right here. I need to make some more mods on this channel, to be quite honest. But I want to wait for some more people to come in, and I'll do that. All right, Shotgun, I just gave you a wrench. We on this channel, we're gonna need as many mods as possible because these trolls are relentless. What's going on live from NYC? Of course, Mike, we always get trolls over here, especially when it comes to certain topics. Now, the last couple of live streams I did, I didn't get a troll on the first one, but that second one I was addressing a troll. But I have a feeling that they're gonna crank up today. What's going on, Santi? You know, I'm gonna make you a mod as well. I'm gonna try to make anybody who is a content creator or those who I can trust to get rid of these trolls a wrench so we can deal with them accordingly. Deagles one says hello to Ringer from Camarillo, California. What's good? Now I know I was going back and forth with the time on this live stream. At first, I was going to see. There he goes again. Your white master. Now they come. See, that's the thing. They'll come back with another channel, multiple channels. What's going on, Miss Notch? But yeah, I was going back and forth with the time. At first, I was going to do it at 7. Then I put it at 6. Now I'm doing it at 5, and I'm actually starting a couple minutes early. But yeah, I need to have as many mods as possible because, like I said, these trolls are going to just. I know they are going to blow my mind. Like I know they're gonna do everything that they can to interrupt this stream. But I'm trying to wait to see if more people will come into the stream before we get started. I'll give it to 5 since that was the original set time for it. Did y'all get the notification when it went out? When this got started? I feel like I always got to ask that because YouTube be playing around with those notifications all the time for some reason. What's going on, LaShawn Jefferson? James Keels. And also, if you're feeling generous, make sure you hit the links. I put the link to the Cash App and the PayPal there. And of course, some of you will most likely do the easy donation, which is the super chat. All right. So some people got it, some people didn't. Yeah, like I said, YouTube be acting funny with the notifications. It's like, what's the point of having this bell if you're not going to properly use it? And then they kept switching everything around. Now they got this new thing with this bell. I don't have time for YouTube and all their shenanigans. Hopefully they'll get it together, and if they don't, then whatever. But you know what it is? YouTube just needs competition. All right. Well, you know what? I'm gonna just go ahead and get started. Um, since it's now 5 o'clock, no need in wasting any more time. I'm gonna be here for a little bit. Trying to unpackage this thing. Like I literally have been going over some things about this whole entire story. That's why I said I'm gonna do it in the form of a live stream because it's a very loaded story, and I know that it is because shout out to True Royal Family. She's done like 4 videos about this story already, and every video that she has done is over 30 minutes long. I think one of her longest videos was like almost an hour. So that shows you right there that there's constant updates with this particular story. It's like it almost has no end in sight. But if they keep fighting, then you know they go all the way until the end. Sean A, I've just posted the links. The Cash App is right there. The PayPal is beneath it. And then, of course, you have the Super Chat that's right there in the bottom corner. Oh yeah, the real deal. We're gonna get into all of that. Like it's like I said, it's a lot to cover in this story. That's why I'm doing it as a live stream because I feel like I want y'all engagement as well because it may be some things that I miss because it's so much going on. And then with me constantly getting emails and so many stories of other things, it's kind of hard to talk and focus on one particular story. Oh yeah, I already know Troy been going in. You said have content creators ever visit the YouTube headquarters? Yes, they have. Do you remember that chick from last year that went there with a piece in her hand and let them know her she literally aired out her grievances? She was a content creator. Now I would not have gone all the way to what she did to that extent, but she definitely uh she let her presence be known. Let's put it that way. All right, but anyway, let me just go ahead and get started because I don't want to get to completely off topic with this story. So, as we all know, the summary of this story is that there was this family, this black family, to a man and a woman. They're engaged. The man's name is Drayvon Ames, and the woman, his fiance, her name is Aisha. Let me make sure I look it up. Aisha Harper. I'm glad I looked at it because I was about to say Aisha Cooper. And they were at a dollar store in Phoenix, Arizona, in hot ass Phoenix, Arizona, with their 3 kids. And she's 5 months pregnant with their 4th child. When they went into the store, you know, business as usual, you know, you go and you look around and, you know, see if it's anything that you want to purchase. And the little girl, whether it was a mistake or not, I don't know, because I'm not going to put out there and say that the little girl intentionally stole the doll, because at the end of the day, the little girl is only 4 years old. Now, before I go any further than that, I will say this. Should be a lesson. If anyone has, okay, hold on, this Sean A person definitely is a troll. Just by looking at the, hey, I'm gonna need my mods to be on it because I can't hide these trolls on my channel and talk about the story at the same time. I'm gonna have to make some more mods. Hold on. All right. If you got a wrench, congratulations. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So the little girl picked up a doll and she walked out of the store. Now, what I was saying was this is exactly why, if you are a parent and you have a child, like a little small child, you have to make sure that you are watching them at all times for a couple of reasons. One being what just happened at this store. Kids will pick up anything and will walk out with it and not think nothing of it. I almost fell into that situation one time when I was younger. I actually went to Dallas, Texas for spring break back in 1996. I still remember it. And for spring in Texas, it's hot as hell. But I went to spring break in Texas, and on the way when we was leaving the airport, me and my mother was with my aunt, her husband, and my cousins. And there was this little funnel thing that you spin around and it makes a tornado with the water. I had it in my hand and literally was about to walk out of the store with it until my uncle had grabbed me up, and I'm not even gonna lie, I got shook as hell because at the time my uncle was this like swole dude. So imagine a guy his size snatching up a little 7-year-old. That's like the Hulk snatching up a rock. It's like it's nothing. And I didn't realize that I had that in my hand and was getting ready to walk out of that store. And good thing he caught me when that happened. But see, no one was watching me, but he peeped it and he caught it early on. And that's why I said that the parents have to really watch their kids, because they will pick up anything and they'll walk out with it and don't think anything of it. Another reason why you have to watch your kids is because if you turn around for even a slight second, your kids can get out of your sight, or at worst case scenario, they can get snatched up by somebody else and they can get kidnapped. And that's a world of problems you do not want. That's a media firestorm waiting to happen. What's going on, Al Smith? Because it also reminds me of the story where this woman had snatched up some person's child, and it was recent. I meant to do a video on it, but like I said, I get hammered with so many other stories, and I wasn't able to talk about it. So what ends up happening is, another thing is with that Asian guy who snatched up that black child and was holding him hostage with that gun. Y'all remember that story, right? What's going on, Ashton? What's up, RJ Connections? So that's one thing, a couple of reasons as to why you need to keep a very close eye on your children, because anything can happen at a moment's notice and it doesn't take long for it to happen. So moving forward with the story. They get in the car. Now, mind you, the girl walks out of the store and the parents do not know what's going on, Quincy. The parents do not know that the girl took the doll out of the store. They don't know it. They have no clue that that happened. They don't discover that the girl had the doll until they get home and realize that she had the doll. What's going on, Brother Roy? These trolls are out of control today. You would think they would be in their cave right now. I think I've seen I'm not even 10 minutes into the damn stream, and I've already like had to hide about 10 trolls so far. But anyway, they didn't realize that she had the doll until they got home. And then that's when everything really started to take a turn. So they end up going back to the store, to return the doll. And then this when all the chaos ensues. They find out that they were being followed. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop right here and I'm going to play the audio of what happened. It's about 2 minutes and 32 seconds long. Like I said on the Hangouts, I could play the video, but you won't be able to hear anything. So you're just going to have to listen. And I might stop and go as it goes forward. Now, if y'all can't really hear it, the part that's being played is the part where they apprehend the mother.
Where the girl at?
You know what? I take that back. It's the part where they apprehend the father.
Oh, look at these kids.
Can y'all hear it?
Can I get the babies? Excuse me? Can I get the kids? Excuse me? Oh, Duffy, shut up. Duffy, go get her kid. Go get her kid. Duffy, go get her kid. Hurry up. He needs to slow down, and those kids is right there. Duffy, go get her kid. Hurry up. Duffy, go get her kid. And the lady is pregnant. Duffy, go get a kid. She bringing it. Oh my God. Oh my God. I didn't cry. I didn't know I'm what they need. I'm just taking the kid. Yeah. Yeah. Don't forget the kid. Get the baby.
Okay, so y'all just heard the audio right there of that family right there being engaged with the police. Now it kind of sounds kind of muffled, and you mostly heard women talking closely to their phone, and that's because they were in close proximity to that situation. Now there was multiple videos. Now a lot of people saw the video where it was a guy recording, and it was a how can I put it? It was unedited. This one, they were kind of covering up their voices. It was edited. They didn't have all the curse words that was in there, but I'm going to explain to you what was being said. So you saw in the video that when he was apprehending the dad and putting him up against the car, the cop kicked his legs open that to the point where it could because it could have
I do not care. You go ahead and get your haircut.
Y'all. Sorry about that. But you saw right there that he kicked the guy's legs open so he couldn't stand. So when that happened, and I'm sorry about that, y'all had a slight interruption. But once they kicked the guy's leg open, you saw him right there saying he's complying. And when he said that hold on, y'all. Hold on right quick. All right, I'm sorry about that, y'all. It's just it was some background noise. But he was basically saying he complied with everything. And that goes back to what I was saying about them doing the whole Simon Says type of deal when it comes to black folks. They'll tell you one thing and then you do it, and then they'll try to give you another one trying to get you hemmed up. If y'all remember the video that I did about that black guy in the parking lot, the one who what was it? A couple weeks ago, where he kept telling them, put your hand on the ignition, turn the car off. But he said, nope, I'm not doing it. Because he was like, if I put my hands down, then he was going to most likely get shot. See, he already knew the deal, and that's exactly why he didn't do it. That's exactly why he didn't do it. But yeah, I see Ash, and I see them trolls are out of control, and it's crazy because these trolls are mimicking channels of people that I actually am subscribed to. Like they said, like that one that says about Kevin Samuel. Some of you probably already know who that is, but anyway, I'm just going to try to ignore them and try to get through this because I'll get completely thrown off. But yeah, they always do that with us just so they can say we didn't comply with anything. And then they took the mother out of the car because the mother was still in the car with the children. And that's when they came and arrested her. And it was a random lady. Now, at first, I thought the lady that got the kids away from the mother was related to them, but that was just a random stranger who saw what was going on and decided to take the kids. Those, I don't want to even call them cops. Those pigs didn't even have any kind of regard for the fact that this woman was 5 months pregnant, and had 3 children with her. She was holding one and she had 2 others. And you heard one of them that was crying. They didn't have any regard in the fact that she was arrested and 5 months pregnant. They didn't care about that either. Like they were looking for a reason to terrorize them that day. And unfortunately, they found it. Over a $1 doll that was most likely made in China for pennies a day. Now, this is a doll that is made overseas and is sold in a dollar store. So it's not like one of those top of the line Barbie dolls. It's one of those cheap dolls that has some generic name to it that they put into the stores, and excuse me, and that would be it. Yeah, Karen, unfortunately, he is still there under various troll accounts. I don't know. It's weird. It is really weird. And then when I was looking at some of, did anyone else before I ask that question, notice how white cops deal with black folks versus white folks. And it doesn't matter if it's a grown man, a grown woman, or a teenage boy or a teenage girl. They all treat them the same exact way. Notice how they were cursing belligerently at this man and his fiance in front of their kids using that type of language. They do not care whatsoever. Now, I think also somewhere in the video that the cop said something about busting a cap in his ass. Can someone confirm for me that that's what one of the cops said? Because if so, I have something to add on to that. Oh yeah, most definitely, Tangy 2936. Whoever called definitely played a part in it because they made it seem like this family was committing a high-level maximum heist. They made it seem like they were about to rob a bank at Fort Knox or go overseas to London and rob the Buckingham Palace. Okay, so you said you said in your head. Okay, head, ass, same thing. Now, I gotta ask y'all in the chat because this is something that's really been like flowing through my head the entire day. When was the last time that you as a black person heard someone use that phrase? Oh yeah, the fact I'm almost certain that he told the mother the same thing. Like I said, he has no regards. At that point, all he saw was nigga. Okay, someone said 80s, the 90s, early 2000s. Okay. That would be the same thing for me. Well, more so 90s and early 2000s because I was born in the late 80s. I was born in 89, so I don't have any recollection of the 80s. But that was the last few times that I heard that particular phrase be used as well. That shows right there that they are watching us like a hawk, to be using phrases that we have not used in years against the people who created it. You don't even hear that phrase used on television anymore or any movies unless it's a period film or period television show, and they might throw that line in there somewhere. Exactly, Ashton. That was a black person phrase. Like, you didn't hear a white person back then using that phrase at all, unless they were one of them, one of those wannabe down white people, or as they call them in the late '90s, wigger. You said shotgun, shogun. You said what phrase? A bust a cap in your ass. That's the phrase. Yes, Martin Lawrence used to use that a lot back then in his movies and on his show. Now, the reason why I said that, I'm gonna get a little off topic right quick, but it's basically going back to the same point. Willie D and Seiji Hito, and shout out to those two brothers. They did a video a couple weeks ago, and I wish I had spoke on it, but I'm talking about it now. Where in the state of Texas, there were some white students who had Spirit Week. For those of you who are not familiar with Spirit Week, it's basically homecoming week in high school, and each day has a different day attached to it. These palm-colored Neander pests decided to have a day called Thug Day. Y'all heard that correctly. They had a day called Thug Day. TUHUG. Thug Day, Gangster Day, whatever it was called. It was a stereotype to try to mock us. So you had the white kids with cornrows, wearing gold chains, grills, baggy clothes, basketball jerseys, and all types of stuff, throwing up gang signs. And let me tell you something right now. White people, when they throw up gang signs, they look like they have Tourette's. Like, how are you off? How do you not be on rhythm throwing up gang signs? I mean, we know most of you cannot dance. We know that. And it's very hard on the eyes to watch white people try to dance unless they are like choreographically trained. But when I heard him say bust a cap in your ass, I said they've been listening to black people, but they're like a decade or two too late, because we don't even say that anymore. And we probably have a good reason as to why we don't say it anymore, because they probably started saying it at that time and we got tired. Notice whenever a white person does something that we've been doing, we immediately just let it go after that, because it has now become tainted. Now, back on topic. One other thing about this situation with the pigs is the body cameras. Not one of those pigs had a body camera on. Not one of them. If it wasn't for the people who recorded this debacle, we would have never seen anything. I said that when it comes to these body cameras, what's the point of even having them if you're not going to use them? That's like having a cell phone and it's always off, but it's always charged to full capacity. Oh, Treehouse, I know they hate those body cams. I know they do. But if I was in charge of a department and I had to oversee a group of cops, and it came to those body cameras, to avoid any type of animosity coming my way from the public, like they're getting right now, I would make sure to go out of my way to make sure those cameras work. And how I would have it set up is the cameras will automatically cut on at a certain time, which would be the time that they clock in to do their shift, and it will cut off before their shift ended. And when I say before their shift ended, I mean when they're back at the station. Now, you got to be real careful when it comes to these body cameras, because they can become real fickle. And the reason why I say that is they will hit you with this. Oh, the body camera is working, but the audio is malfunction. So that means the visual is working, but you won't be able to hear anything when they release it as evidence. Or they'll reverse it and say, oh, the body camera is working, but the video is malfunction, which means we can only hear what was said, but we can't see anything. They not slick. I would make sure that those body cameras are top of the line and that they are always working both ways, audio and visual. And if for some odd reason the thing doesn't work, you have a certain designated time to let people know or the tech know that it's not working or you're fired. No pension, no last paycheck. Good luck. Oh yeah, Al Smith. Listen. Those videos are always manipulated. And while we're talking about the body cameras, let's talk about the dash cam because they didn't say anything about a dash cam with this either, unless they did. And maybe I missed it. But when it comes to those dash cams, they manipulate those too. Because we've learned from what happened with Laquan McDonald. They actually went over to the McDonald's that was right across the street from where he was killed and literally did a raid on a fast food restaurant just to get those cameras so nothing could be seen. And we're supposed to trust these individuals? I'm like this. If you're going to do that with your body cams and your dash cams, that means you have something to hide. What's going on, August Dreams? You know what? I'm going to go ahead and make you a mod. Oh, you're right about that lie from NYC, especially when it comes to us black folks. Now, if it comes to other groups, then, well, we know what group would definitely abuse the usage of trust in police in the same sentence. No problem, August. Because they pretty much have proven that they cannot be trusted. It's only one officer that I know that I would trust. I'm not going to say their name on here, but they are subscribed to me, and they do make their own content, and most of it is non cop related. Is actually really heavily black oriented. I'm just reading the chat right now. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and try to pull up the audio with the police chief, this woman by the name of Jerry Williams, about what she has to say about this situation. And notice that every time something like this happens with a black family, they always got to have a black spokesperson to come out and say something on the behalf of what's going on, Eli's money. I kind of figured that that they didn't melanated magic. That's probably because they didn't use it. Like I said, if it wasn't for the people recording, we wouldn't see it. Notice that every video we've seen of this incident came from a cell phone. Not one came from a body cam. Not one came from a dash cam. They strategically do that. But yeah, notice that they always use a black person to be the mouthpiece whenever white people, well, white cops in particular, do debauchery. It could be a police chief, it could be the mayor, it could be a governor. Rarely would you ever see another white person who is going to say something on that behalf. Now, let me see if I can go ahead and pull this up because it's so many videos. I had to mute myself right quick just to make sure I had the right audio, so I did find it. It's about 2 minutes and 56 seconds long. Let's see what she's saying. Now, the video I'm pulled up is it has 5 likes and 3 dislikes. Something tells me that she says something that people don't like. But let's go ahead and hear it.
I know that when bad things happen in law enforcement across the country, it's not just Phoenix PD anymore. It's everyone who's in uniform who's marred by this, and it erodes the trust that we worked so hard to build. And I don't think we have a race problem. At the end of the day, the officer with...
Okay, hold on. I had to stop it right there. Did y'all just hear what she said? I don't think we have a race problem. Now, mind you, this is a black woman who said this. She said, I don't think we have a race problem. I'm gonna go ahead and play it again just in case y'all didn't hear it.
Across the country, it's not just Phoenix PD anymore. It's everyone who's in uniform who's marred by this, and it erodes the trust that we worked so hard to build. And I don't think we have a race problem.
Y'all heard it. And I'm only 12 seconds into a 2 minute and 50-second clip. But notice she also said something in the beginning of that too, where she said, we are all affected by this, not just this woman is literally speaking from the standpoint of being a cop first and black second. For her to make a statement like that, and she be a black woman, she couldn't even sympathize or empathize with the black woman who was 5 months pregnant. If y'all don't know, this is the police chief for Phoenix, Arizona. And they say she's the first black police chief for that department. Now, guess who else is the first black police chief for the department? Renee Hall. And y'all know how incompetent that woman is. I have a video coming up soon about her too, because something interesting happened involving her. Not anything Petty Pendergrass related or on that level, but let's just say if everything works out, those violins will be struck up, will be queued up and ready to go. Now let me go ahead and continue.
At the end of the day, the officer was making a stop of a theft that happened that was alerted by that manager, and they sort of say, hey, look, the adults are taking things. So now
y'all heard that, right? They said that she said that that the adults were taking things. But they keep hyping up the thing about the doll and the 4-year-old taking things. Now they're saying that the adults were stealing. It's either one or the other. It's either the girl took something or the adults took something. And I have something to say at the end of this clip.
I'm hopeful to find is to get to the bottom of this, to get to the truth, and that's what the investigation is going to give us.
Now, shortly after Chief Williams made her public apology here at Arizona's family, the family involved held a news conference over at City Hall.
You know, I'm gonna pause it right there because that was the end of her clip right there, and I'll continue playing it. Now, before I go any further, I believe that they actually went into the past of the father. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but I think they went and dug in the past of the father. My thing is this: what does his past discretions have anything to do with this case? And right, Reve, you make a good point, but they couldn't find anything that the parents stole. Right, the only thing they recovered was a doll that the 4-year-old got or took by mistake. We're gonna say by mistake over here. Right, nothing, but they always do that. I remember, if y'all remember when Trayvon Martin was murdered by that thing down in Florida, they literally went out of their way to build up this image of him to show that he deserved to get what he got. Like, they were pulling up images saying Trayvon Martin was wearing grills, he was flipping the bird, and every time the media will put out a good picture of him, shockingly, the media will always put out a good picture of him, usually in that football uniform or him at the it was at a hangar, because I think he said he wanted to be a pilot. They would put those images out there, but you had people on the internet trying to push this agenda that Trayvon Martin deserved what he got. Yet, if you dug into the past of George Zimmerman, you would see that this guy had a lot of discrepancies, a lot of stains attached to him. I mean, everything from domestic violence to abuse, and some of this was against his own family, not against other people he wasn't related to, but against his own family. But they had to paint George Zimmerman as this helpless little victim and paint Trayvon Martin as the big black boogeyman. And they do that with just about all of us. Now, the thing is this, didn't they say George Zimmerman took some kind of karate or martial arts or something like that? Now, if that's the case, you would have been able to handle any type of maneuver that Trayvon Martin would have been able to give to you with ease. And when they said he got injured and stuff like that, all he had was a little cut on his nose and probably a small busted lip, and that was about it. Meanwhile, Trayvon Martin got a couple to the chest. And now what's going on? George Zimmerman is doing whatever, terrorizing the streets again, and just being an all-around troll. And now people want to come to realize that George Zimmerman is not who he proclaimed himself to be. We knew that from the jump. That's just like when Tamir Rice was killed. He was 12 years old, but they put out there that he was 18. Because he looked older. Then I see his picture and I'm like, are we seeing the same person here? Because I'm sorry, because Tamir Rice looks like a little boy to me. He does. So I'm trying to figure out what that was all about. I mean, he had the baby face, he had no facial hair.
You need to go get your hair cut.
All of that. But see, that's the thing. They always age our children. They make them appear to be older than what they are in order to inflict fear. They even tried to make Mike Brown appear to be this vicious individual. Right, Treehouse. They said jurors crying about making. Yeah, you did make the wrong decision, and you know you made the wrong decision. Exactly, John. Don't cry now. The damage is done. How long ago was that? 2012. 7 years. Oh, well, over 7 years now because it happened in February of that year. All-Star Weekend. You know why they changed their mind about the Trayvon Martin thing? Because they saw the error in George Zimmerman's ways. But you know what? In a way, that was kind of I don't know how to put it. It was almost I'm not gonna say a blessing in disguise, but it was that moment right there where we figured out what the dominant society really thought about us. I know it happened in February, All-Star Weekend, 2012. He was on his way back from the store. But you know what? Let me continue because we can talk about that all day. Now I'm gonna let this news clip play.
Is joining us with what they had to say.
Well, if the Phoenix police chief and mayor thought that a public apology would smooth things over with this couple, they were 100% wrong. The couple pretty much blasted the apologies as a sham and a public relations ploy, saying they have no interest in keeping quiet.
Get out the car!
It traumatized my whole family.
They're the Phoenix couple making headlines across the country, accusing Phoenix officers of police brutality. Drayvon Ames and Aisha Harper say it's still hard to watch the cell phone video from May 27th, when things seemed to get out of hand during a confrontation with cops at a Phoenix apartment complex.
I was very much so in fear for my family's life and my life. I thought we were all going to be executed.
I don't give a put your hands up.
The video, which has now gone viral, was taken shortly after the couple and their young children were stopped for allegedly stealing underwear and other items from a dollar store. The video shows the officers pointing their guns and yelling profanities. At one point, an officer appears to sweep the legs of Ames while he's in handcuffs. Today, Phoenix Police Chief Gary Williams appeared on our morning show to apologize for what happened and say the incident is under investigation.
Yes, there was some misconduct. There was some egregiousness, absolutely. And so that's why I'm coming on air to say that. We've apologized to the family. I've apologized to the family, to the community. But there are 20.
Now, before I go any further, now this is the news clip showing her. Now, she says that she has apologized to the family, then we have apologized to the family. She needs to define we. Because to me, it sounds like she just is the mouthpiece for the wrongdoing. If the apology did not come from the cops who did that, then it doesn't mean anything at all. Because you're just being the messenger. That's like if I tell someone to call me back. Don't text me. What's up, Char? Oh, you know I'm definitely about to make you a mod. Well, no, let me just keep on going because they may actually say it in this clip.
900 officers out there today that are still doing their job, and the job didn't look like this.
Ames and Harper spoke to reporters outside Phoenix City Hall today with their attorneys and civil rights activists by their side. They made it absolutely clear that they do not accept the Phoenix police chief's apology because the officers involved still have a job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Because, you know, they could have easily went that route. They could have went that route and said, we forgive you. And they didn't. He said, we do not accept their apology because the police, well, those pigs, still have a job. They're still employed. They did not fire them. They didn't even put them on, as far as I know, they did not put them on paid administrative leave like they usually like to try to do. Oh yeah, Al Smith, the chief need to be checked too for saying that that it wasn't about race, and she said that with some assertion. She didn't say I don't believe it had anything to do with race. She said it didn't have anything to do with race. Words definitely play a part. So that means she's already made up in her mind that race did not have a problem. I got a question for her. Has her department dealt with anything like this before with a white family? And if they have, was it this excessive? My guess is probably no. Or I would have to see an example of that play out the way that this one did, and them say the same exact thing. Notice that whenever stuff like that, if it does happen to white people, they'll never say it was about race. Right, man. She was coon-splaining. Exactly, Herbert Scott. He said if it had nothing to do with race, why mention it? She probably said that because somebody probably asked her. Somebody probably asked her if it had anything to do with race, and she felt she had to give a response. But she didn't say, I believe it didn't have anything to do with race. She didn't say, I don't feel like it had anything to do with race. She said it did not have anything to do with race. But I'm glad that the family said that they are not going to be not apologizing, or not accepting an apology from these individuals, because one, it didn't come from them, it came from her. She had to apologize on their behalf, which means it's basically a half-ass apology. It's not genuine. I've always said this before in my videos. They do not know how to give genuine apologies. Their so-called apologies, quote unquote, equal up to nothingness. That's what their apologies are. Well, August, we know who did get a meal at Burger King. Dylann Roof. We know that. We know that. And you know what's so funny? I wonder, has anybody else in the state of South Carolina been arrested for a high-level crime like he has done and got the same treatment? Because I'm sure some big crimes had, or maybe, I don't know if it was a bigger crime than that, but I'm sure some crimes had to have happened in the state of South Carolina since Dylann Roof. And I want to know, did anyone else get taken to Burger King or Wendy's or McDonald's or Zaxby's or Chick-fil-A or churches? Because as far as I know, Dylann Roof is the only person who I've heard of that ever fall into that category. And I remember what one of the people said, that they usually do that. So you mean to tell me after a person has just slaughtered 9 people in a church, a place of worship, and then drives across state lines, because Dylann Roof drove from South Carolina to North Carolina. I think he made it to Charlotte. From Charleston to Charlotte, that's a pretty hefty drive. That's like almost a 3-hour drive. I know this because I used to go to school in South Carolina, and I went to school in Columbia. Columbia to Charlotte is an hour. And Columbia to Charleston is about an hour and a half, depending on how you drive. Because Charleston is like, I'm not sure the demographic, but I want to say it's like in the center of South Carolina. But yeah, like they gave him like extreme privilege and took him to Burger King after he killed those people. We will never forget that. The fact that you said it was a white reporter who asked her that. Well, it doesn't matter now because Dylann Roof is on death row. But see, that's the thing. We don't know when he's actually going to get put in that chair. Because remember, John William King, for killing James Byrd back in 1998, just got the chair back in April. And he's been on death row since 1999. So it took them 20 years. Well, 21 if you include him going to jail in that year that he killed James Byrd. It took that long to execute him. Now, Dylann Roof, that was 4 years ago. As a matter of fact, I think the anniversary for that is coming up. I'm not mistaken. I think it is. But anyway, I'm glad that the family did not accept their so-called apology. Let me see if there's any more to this clip.
It's absolutely absurd that you can apologize for something and seek to move beyond something without actually disciplining and firing these officers who were involved in this situation.
I didn't do anything wrong, so it's nothing I'll do differently. It's things they should do differently, not I.
Now, the family has filed a $10 million notice of claim against the city of Phoenix, alleging police brutality and violation of their civil rights.
All right, sorry about that. But yeah, kudos to the family for not accepting their apology. Now, before I really go any deeper into this, hold on. Shout out to Chantel Williams for the PayPal donation. Now, wasn't there a guy? There was a white, I think there was a white cop or someone who spoke out about this situation right here, and he had a very standoffish attitude. I'm trying to find that clip about him, but I don't know his name. Hopefully one of you in the chat know his name. He was a white guy. I think he had a bald head and a mustache, and I think like a little goatee. And his attitude was horrible. Like you could tell, like he was just completely standoffish against the entire thing. Oh yeah, Reve, definitely put that on blast. Because let me tell you something. This isn't the first time. This isn't their first ride at the rodeo. They have done stuff like this before in the past. But does anybody in the chat know that guy's name? Because I want to pull that up so y'all can listen to that audio. Because his ad, because I saw it in passing, so I didn't catch his name, but I kept seeing his name pop up. I wish True Oil was in here because I could ask her, because she's really been staying on top of this. Like she's literally updating us every day with this story. Like I said before, if you didn't catch it in the beginning, True Royal Family literally has been uploading video after video after video daily about the situation. And every last video she's done is like over 30 minutes long. I'm gonna see if I can find this man's name because I do not know it. Because his attitude was really, really messed up. But that's to be expected. You said True Royal Family has the full press conference from the family. Now I gotta find out what video it is, because I would like to play that for you. Yeah, like the last 4 videos that she's talked about was about this story right here over the last 4 days. Well, over the last 2 or 3 days. What's going on, Grinch? Man, I wish I could find that. But hold on, y'all. I'm gonna put y'all on mute right quick. I'm gonna see if I can scroll through this audio and see if I can find it, because All right, I didn't find what I was looking for as far as that guy's concerned, but I did go to Truo family's video that she uploaded yesterday, and in one of the clips it said that the cops that were involved were assigned to death duty, but that's still not being fired. I mean, they're still getting a check. It just means that they're not on the street. They should be on the street, all right, unemployed. But I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip right here because it's an extended piece of what that police chief was talking about, and she's babbling some more.
Phoenix Police Chief Gary Williams. She is joining us right now in this video. Chief, obviously a very difficult situation. When you came to Phoenix, you said, I believe in transparency.
Yes.
And in transparency, I want everyone to know that you asked to be here today.
Yes.
You wanted to talk to the citizens of Phoenix. What do you want to tell?
So what I want to tell, first and foremost, the mayor's comments are absolutely correct. I'm disappointed. I'm sorry. I apologize to the family. I apologize to the community. I apologize to the public because this is not the type of behavior you should see from a Phoenix police officer. Period. End of conversation. At the same time, there are more facts to the story.
Okay.
So on May 20th.
Okay, here we go. Here comes with the coonsplaining that somebody said. She literally says that she apologized to the family. Now, the mayor has said something in the form of an apology. Then she comes back and says something in the form of an apology. Now she's about to revert back. Now, this incident that we're talking about today did not happen this week or last week. It happened at the end of May. So we're talking roughly about 3 weeks ago when this happened, but we're just now learning about the incident. Do you know what kind of tampering with evidence they could have done since then? In 3 weeks? But let me continue.
May 7th, adults made the choice to go into a local business and steal items and commit a theft. When the manager saw what was happening, the manager alerted police to have them to stop. They didn't stop, they got into a car. They stopped once and let a lady out who ultimately had warrants, and then the vehicle left again. They stopped the vehicle again, and that's where what you see on video comes into play with the language and everything that's going on. So once again, this is not what 2,900 officers in the city of Phoenix are about. We're all angry about this. We're all upset about this. This is not what should be happening. So
now y'all see what she just did there. So she starts off with an apology. She speaks for herself, and then she speaks for everybody else. Well, technically, she's really not speaking for anybody else because a lot of them don't feel the same way she does. That's why I don't like when people speak for me, because I may feel indifferent from you. Then she reverts and talks about what happened or what allegedly happened leading up to this. At that point, her so-called apology don't mean nothing. And right, Al Smith, she inserted the part about them having warrants. She wants y'all to know that this couple is no good. That's what she's trying to say to you. She basically is putting out dog whistle language that she doesn't want anyone to feel bad for them in the situation that occurred. Now, how many times have white individuals done worse things than this, and they never ever in a press conference mention anything about warrants they may have had? But if they have a clean record, they'll make sure to mention that. Tommy ran over somebody on a bicycle while under the influence of alcohol, opioids, cocaine, marijuana, and glue. He kept on driving and did not have any regard for the victim on the bike, and the victim died. However, Tommy did not have a criminal past. This is his first offense. Right, Manny Lamont. Thank you. Affluenza. Reminds me of Affluenza boy. Was in an Ethan Couch. Stole a vehicle, his parents' vehicle, while underage, and was drinking underage, and hit and killed 4 people. And all he got was a huge slap on the wrist because he suffered from something called affluenza, and apparently he was too rich and wealthy to know what he did was wrong. I didn't know that the measure of your bank account or your wealth or whatever it is that you have overshadows a lack of common sense until that incident happened. Now, that one right there is in the top 5 white privilege stories ever told. It's almost at number 1. Jeff Epstein probably is number 1 for me. I don't have to go into a whole diatribe about Jeff Epstein. We know what's up with him. But let me go ahead and continue playing this clip.
As soon as I found out, we put the employees on non-enforcement assignment so they can't engage with the public.
Have you engaged with them? Have you spoken to them at all?
Great question. So during the course of an investigation, I shouldn't speak to them because I would be the ultimate person who's going to oversee discipline if anything's going to happen. So they've been assigned what I did because I know that the public wants answers and they want answers now. Is that I've assigned 2 individuals to run this investigation so that it does not take months in order for us to happen. I do need the public to know this though. Everyone's entitled to due process. So as we go through the investigation, we're going to make sure that we share the information with our public and share the information with our employees. So this incident isn't getting lost on me by any stretch of the imagination. I know that when bad things happen in law enforcement across the country, it's not just Phoenix PD anymore. It's everyone who's in uniform who's marred by this, and it erodes the trust that we worked so hard to build.
At what point is it ever necessary for a police officer to point a gun at a family and say, I'm going to put a cap in your head?
So those are all great questions, and as we watch the video, I have to stay true to the investigation process, and that's where that due process.
Hold on, let me go back right quick because I heard something when that reporter asked that question.
Is going to happen. So they've been assigned what I did because I know that the public wants answers and they want answers now. Is that I've assigned 2 individuals to run this investigation so that it does not take months in order for us to happen. I do need the public to know this though. Everyone's entitled to due process. So as we go through the investigation, we're going to make sure that we share the information with our public and share the information with our employees. So this incident isn't getting lost on me by any stretch of the imagination. I know that when bad things happen in law enforcement across the country, it's not just Phoenix PD anymore. It's everyone who's in uniform who's marred by this, and it erodes the trust that we worked so hard to build.
At what point is it ever necessary for a police officer to point a gun at a family and say, I'm going to put a cap in your head?
Okay, Herbert Scott, you're right. You did hear a smirk. That's why I rewinded the part back to that point. That white reporter let out a little chuckle when she said, when is it okay for a cop to say to a citizen or a family, I'm going to bust a cap in your you know what? And she chuckled. I wonder if it would be funny if someone said that to her or her loved one. I swear they think, whew, they think everything is funny. Yeah, man, Lamont, it was a laugh. It was one of those, how can I describe? It was one of those like nervous laughs. Like it's almost like, should I or should I not laugh right here? Or one of those laughs almost like in disbelief. But it was a laugh or a smirk nonetheless. I heard about that too, Mr. Mister. I might look into that. But let me get into that because she did ask that question, and I would like to know what this police chief did say, but I did have to point that part out.
They're all great questions, and as we watch the video, I have to stay true to the investigation process, and that's where that due process comes in. They're going to look at that. They're going to look at the force. They're going to look at everything, and I'm confident in this. I'm confident in the fact that the other 2,900 officers out there, we're all feeling this. We're all feeling that this should not have.
Okay. So she asked her, when is it okay for an officer to say that? And she really did not answer the question. Because she knows it's not okay. But she's trying to protect her position, so she's not going to say it. So she gives this roundabout answer or roundabout response that doesn't add up to anything. Talking about with the investigation and whatnot. We know that cops are not supposed to say that type of language to somebody else, because now it almost sounds like they're a gang. And I already know what y'all gonna say in the chat. Well, they are. They sure function like one, that's for sure. And she keeps mentioning this 2,900 officers. At this point, we don't care how many officers it is. It could be 29 or 29,000, and we don't care. And that goes back to what I was asking. Would this have happened to a white family? See, they should have had me up there asking questions. Would this have happened to a white family? And she, you know what? I would have been wasting my time because she would have gave that same roundabout answer like the one she just gave. Let me continue.
Happen in the way that it happened. And frankly, a lot of us are very embarrassed.
So what needs to happen? What needs to change so that you're...
Okay, she says we are all affected. We are all embarrassed. The only reason let me be real clear about this. The only reason they are embarrassed or feel anything about this right now is because the story went viral. Mind you, this incident happened at the end of May. Excuse me. This did not just happen last week. The story came out, what was it, last week or a few days ago? But the actual incident itself happened at the end of May, which tells me that they were trying their best to keep this hidden. We could have went through the rest of 2019 and not have known this had happened if it wasn't for the people who recorded this on their phone. This is exactly why in some states they want to outlaw citizens recording police interactions with other people. They do not want their dirty laundry aired out. Right now, the biggest enemy to a police officer, like the ones who were dealing with this family, is a cell phone. Right, misanthropic justice. If this wasn't recorded, if it didn't go viral, we would not have known. And they would have preferred it to be that way. She would have preferred it to be that way. Why? Because they are catching all kinds of hell right now. They're catching slings, arrows, bullets, rocks, catapults, lava rocks, all of that right now. That's why she's embarrassed. And truth be told, now that really makes me question what else goes on in that department. Because like I said, I don't think that this is the first time they've ever done something like this. It's just that this is one of those incidents that got exposed and the world knows about it. Cell phones and social media are the enemy to any police department that is heavily corrupted. Cell phones because it catches the evidence, social media because it spreads the evidence. And once anything ends up on social media, it's out there. It's no coming back from that. Could you imagine if we had cell phones back in the 90s and social media back in the 90s? Do you know how much stuff we would have seen that we don't know about? Could you imagine if the Rodney King incident happened and we had social media? Could you imagine what social media would have been like with the OJ trial? Could you imagine what it would have been like for the LA riots? And a host of other events that happened in just the 90s alone? But yes, social media and cell phones are the biggest enemy to a corrupt police department. That is why they want to stop it from happening. Why else would they want that? It's not because they don't like being filmed. Well, I take that back. It is that. Well, at least them doing something like that. Now, ironically, there's also cell phone footage of these cops supposedly going into these black communities and playing basketball and dancing off beat and playing jump rope with kids, they don't mind it then because it shows them in a good light, in a light that they want to put on as a blanket onto black people to coddle them back to sleep. But when stuff like this goes out, now it's a problem. You're right, Treehouse. A lot of dirty cops back then did go unchecked. Like I said, if we had social media back then, oh, if we had cell phones and YouTube back then, and Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and Snapchat, any site that does video hosting, it would have been a wrap for a lot of them. But now it's like we just have to hear about it. Stuff back then, but now not only do we get to hear about it, but we get to see it. That's why sometimes it kind of upsets me when people say, why are you just recording? Why are you just recording? For evidence. Which sometimes in this day and age won't mean a thing because they could look at the cell phone footage or any type of video that goes out there and they'll still go around that and find the person involved to be not guilty of whatever crime they committed. Or they'll give them some kind of low tier sentence like a misdemeanor when something was a felonious crime. Right, lady. And when that cop kicked that man, that I saw that clear as day. And he kicked him hard. And the guy was handcuffed behind his back, which means he could not control himself when after he got kicked. He had no other choice but to buckle at the knees. And that's bro cowardice like, because you had to kick somebody who could not defend themselves. Yeah, Allison, if they terrorized the whole family and they're embarrassed. Let me continue.
Officers are doing this again, and this isn't all over the news everywhere in the country.
Great question. So we're rolling out body-worn cameras. I know that there's some concern, why didn't the officer have body-worn cameras? To refresh everyone's memory, we began the process of rolling out body-worn cameras starting in April. We're now speeding that process.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Time out. Time out. Did y'all hear that? She mentioned that with the body cameras are rolling out in April. Mind you, this event happened at the end of May, which was the following month. You mean to tell me that this department that has been around for all these years and all these other departments who have these body cameras, whether they use them or not effectively, and this department is just now getting them? That alone right there would make me want to hand this woman her walking papers. No wonder the daggone things didn't work. They were brand new and they probably didn't effectively what's the word I'm looking for? They didn't effectively I can't think of the word. Properly use them. I can't think of what I'm trying. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. They just got body cameras the month before. But what about dash cam footage? I'm gonna continue to play and see if she says anything about dash cam footage because we have yet to hear anything about that. Are you going to tell me that that rolled out in what, March or at the beginning of May, and that's why y'all didn't have that either? Thank you, Misanthropic Justice. Utilize them. Thank you. I couldn't think. My mind is like all over the place right now because she's pissing me off right now.
So we have about 600 cameras out there. I think the body-worn cameras is a tool. We need to upload some training. I need to go speak directly with my employees, attending briefings, having conversations. We're better than this, and I know that we're better than this. But what I would ask the community to remember is that This is not who the Phoenix Police Department is.
But it is right now in national news. They're saying this is who we are. And
before I go further, she said something about some training. Listen, they should have got all the training they needed at that academy. Don't you? Has it ever dawned on you that they love to do this kind of training and sensitivity and diversity training whenever it comes to them dealing with Black folks? It's almost like they have to train them on how to deal with us. Whew. And the crazy thing about it, Laughing Stock, is she's being vetted and hazed by 2 white female reporters. Besides that little chuckle that palm-colored Beth Ann gave out, they're actually hammering her with these questions.
Saying that this could be a race issue. Do we have a race problem?
It's a great question, and I don't think we have a race problem.
And another thing that's killing me too is she keeps saying "great question" after they ask a question. Now it gets back to that part where it was talking about the race problem.
At the end of the day, the officer was making a stop on a theft that happened that was alerted by that manager, and they're sort of saying, look, the adults are taking things. So what I'm hopeful to find is to get to the bottom of this, to get to the truth, and that's what the investigation is going to do us.
How did you first see this video? What was your initial response? You're a mom. You're a cop.
Well, I'm more than that. I am a member of this community and have been. I'm a Native Phoenician, yeah. So this speaks volumes to my community. I was outraged. I was embarrassed. I'm sorry. I am sorry that this is what I'm here talking to you about. Instead of the amazing things that my department is doing and that the nation is not even aware of, because I can't talk about it because of this incident.
You have so many officers.
And I bet it's just eating her up that she can't. Now, like I said, the minute she said that this isn't a race issue, she pretty much let us know what side of the lane she's on. Like, she's blue first, Black second. It almost sounds like she has more empathy for the cops than she does this family. All she can say to that family is that she's sorry. Al Smith, Manny Lamont, no, she's not about to cry. I'm looking at the video right now. She's not about to cry. Right, Jerron. She's speaking as if it was in past tense. You're right. She still needs to be outraged and embarrassed, because this put a stain on your entire department. Whatever good name y'all had up until that point is tarnished because of this incident.
I mean, you have thousands of officers that you oversee. Yes. Is there a problem, though, that exists in the community with those officers that we don't know, or we're just now learning about, as far as treating everybody equally and fairly?
So I don't think it's a problem in the community. What I think I have is an individual who made a choice. I don't know why the call went the way that it did, and the investigation is going to show that. I do know that every day people come up to us and they tell us, thank you for your service. I do know that every day folks put on this blue uniform and they make absolutely positive contacts with people in our community and make our community better. This is marring our good job and our good work, and I'm committed to fixing it.
Okay.
You know what this says to me? She's more concerned about trying to maintain a good image that is now destroyed because of what her cops did. That's why I said she's more on their side, and by their side, I'm not talking about the family. Like, she's pretty much let us know in so many words she don't care what happens to them. At least right now, anyways. And that's going to segue into the next part I'm going to talk about with the story. but she's more concerned about her image because she knows that if this does not go the way it should, her job could be affected. So she better tread lightly, or she might end up just like being close into the position of getting into Renee Hall territory. Now, I'm not going to talk about why I said Renee Hall because I have that as a video and I don't want to spoil it for you. Some of you may already know what I'm talking about, but I think that video will be uploaded, I think, tomorrow. But she's worried. Like, you can tell if you was able to see the video and look at her body language, because I'm a good judgment of body language. And her facial expressions are telling me that she is scared to death. Appreciated Trumel Nichols. She is scared to death of what could possibly happen with not only her department, but with her job. For all we know, she's just probably saying all the PC things right now and may not mean a word of it. She's probably just playing this all up for the cameras. I don't know. I'm not in her head. She knows if she says the wrong thing, her job is in jeopardy. But she knows if she says the right thing, her job will still be in jeopardy because the public is going to view her in a whole nother way. And she's literally out there by herself. Like I said, she has to be the spokesman for not only her department, but for herself as well. Not one time did they have any of the cops that were involved with this put out there. We don't even know who they are. We don't know their names. We just know that now they are on desk duty. They're not even on paid administrative leave, which means they can't even be on the premises. They are still working at the station. They just aren't on the street. Ashton, you said you do know that the Phoenix Police Department were on Facebook. I'm sure they were. Shout out to Seiji Hito because he actually just did a video talking about some of these police departments being a part of these anti-black groups. Listen, none of that surprises me in the least bit. If y'all remember, in Florida, a few years ago, and I think this was before I got onto YouTube, there was this incident where you had at a police department where they were at a gun range, and at the range, the posters were of black men's mug shots. And the way that they discovered this was because one of the sisters of one of the inmates saw it, and she saw her brother's mugshot used as a target. Who remembers that? And it was only black mugshots. It was not no white mugshots, no Hispanic mugshots, no Latino, Asians, none of that. It was just black. It was black men too. I remember that vividly. All right, Karen. Appreciate you coming through. Appreciate it, Solo Dolo. August, you said their names have been released. Hold on, let me see if I can go and find that. Oh yeah, Mr. Mister. Of course they're gonna sweep something like that under the rug. They had to dead that on arrival. According to us, she wasn't supposed to see that. And she blew the lid off of that one. I appreciate it. See you later, Treehouse Party 83. Okay, so the names of the officers have been released. Shout out to August Dreams because I just searched it and the names have been released. Okay, and they have their names and their badge numbers. Okay, the officers are Christopher Meyer. His badge number is 06254. The next one is Nicholas Welch. His badge number is 09372. The next one is Agnes Milbourne. Her badge number is 09118. And the last one is Brian Herrick. His last name is spelled Herricht, and his badge number is 09054. Let me tell you something right now. Black Twitter is like a bureau all in of itself. If they want to find something, they will find it. Oh, Manny, I'm almost certain that they have a history. Hey, Lady M, you right about that. And I know one person, one chick in particular, who definitely supports Dirty Dick Danny, because that's what I call him. And that's that chick, Michelle Malkin. And I think she's only doing that because she probably wants to sleep with him. I wouldn't be surprised if she did. That little thought. Now, that's a strag if I've ever seen one. Shout out to Grinch. But yes, I just gave y'all the names. Let's see here. I'm trying to look and see if there's anything else here. That's a good way of putting it, Chaos 702. He said they're basically ADOS intelligence. Yeah, this event happened on May 29th. So yeah, it was the last week of May, and we're just now learning about it pretty much 3 weeks later. But yep, those are the names of the officers. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and type their names in the chat so y'all know who it is, and also their badge numbers are next to it, just in case y'all want to go and do your extra bit of research on them as well. That didn't take long, August, to get their names, to be quite honest. All right, I just typed all their names and their badge numbers in the chat. Do with it what you may. Now we have a name. Now we have the names, which means, and the thing is, they have some of them have some weird sounding names, so they probably shouldn't be. It probably shouldn't be hard to find an image of them either. Google is your friend most of the time. But I wanted to keep moving along. I'm actually tired of hearing from that police chief. I wanted to talk about this this payment that they want to give the family. Let me see if I can pull that article up right quick. Because they said that they want to give them a hefty payment. Okay, let's see here. I appreciate you again, Solo Dolo, for the next donation. Ashton, that has to be a woman. I do not know one man by the name of Agnes. Okay, so I pulled up this article from azfamily.com, and it's saying that the Phoenix Police Department will be facing a $10 million lawsuit in connection with officers' response to a shoplifting call. Now, let's be real here. That $10 million ain't coming from the department. That's coming from the taxpayers. If they get the $10 million. Now, this is just the lawsuit that they put into place. In my honest opinion, for the pain and suffering they had to go through, I would be demanding some more money. Now, it's not guaranteed that they're going to get this money, but that's how much they're asking for. Well, that's probably how much their attorneys are asking for. And we're gonna go into that part as well, but I want to focus a little bit more on this part right here. They said that the lawsuit was filed on Thursday morning, which was this past Thursday, of course. It says the documents claim that Al Smith, now you know they ain't about to give that family $10 million apiece. If the state of New York is not going to give $41 million a piece to the Central Park Five, you know this family ain't about to get $10 million a piece. Now it says the documents claim that Phoenix police officers engaged in police brutality and civil rights violations. The claim said the incident happened on May 29th, but police said it was on May 27th. According to the claim, Drayvon Ames and Aisha Harper, who was 5 months pregnant, didn't realize their 4-year-old took a doll from the Family Dollar store on 36th Street and McDowell Road until they were in the car. I'm glad they put the address out there. Don't patronize it. Because whoever made that call stands to have just as much blame in this as the cops who were involved, because they were the catalyst for this whole thing. It says the family drove to an apartment complex near 32nd and Roosevelt Streets where their babysitter lived. A police car pulled up behind them with no sirens or lights. And this is, we're talking about a doll that's worth maybe $5. And to be honest, it was actually about $1. And the horrors that came from the overreaction to that, said former Arizona Attorney General Tom Horn, who was representing the family. That's when the family claims an officer went up to Ames, who was in the driver's seat, pointed a gun at him and said, "I'm going to put a cap in your ass." The officer also said, "I'm going to shoot you in the you-know-what face." Their 4-year-old and their 1-year-old children were in the backseat of the car. Now, you know what this also reminds me of? The father, the mother, and the kids were all in the car together when the cop said that. When I read that, you know who that reminded me of? Philando Castile. Because he was in the car, his girlfriend was beside him, and her daughter was in the back seat. The only difference is that this man, Drayvon Ames, is still alive. It's amazing how I can pull so many similar stories and apply it to this. Like I said, this family, especially that guy, the man, is extremely lucky to be alive. Okay, it says the family claims the officer pulled Ames out of the car, kicked him in the right leg, which he did do, and punched him in the back. Ames said he wasn't resisting. And see, you know what they'll do? When they're handcuffed like that and they have you handcuffed behind your back like that, they'll move you around to make it seem like you're resisting. Or they'll grab onto those cuffs to make it tighter against your wrist and make your wrist hurt to make you move. Just so they can have a reason to say you were resisting. They ain't slick. It said the officer also pointed a gun at the mother and the children inside, the claim said. Ames and Harper claimed they were put into handcuffs and that threats with profanity were made. They held guns on these little girls, said Rev. Jared Maupin, a civil rights activist. They held guns on these two parents. Those girls are going to be traumatized for the rest of their life. And stuff like this, if it's kids involved, is exactly why many of them grow up to not trust the police. Or many of them say that they want to be a police officer and they see all the stuff that is happening and they're like, you know what, I don't want to be a police anymore, because they see what is going on. They're afraid it might happen to them. Do you know how many black police officers get hit with the mistaken identity thing and they end up getting killed by other white cops that work in the department? I have a story about that coming up, but it wasn't that extreme, but it kind of is in the same ballpark. It says some of the incident was caught on camera, but the family says 5 to 10 minutes went by when the officers first approached and when people started filming. After this, me and my daughters will never be the same anymore or feel the same for police, because it seems like every police is out for blood or something. We wasn't really doing anything, said Harper. The claim says the car was impounded and Ames' injuries due to the police brutality are making him unable to work. They injured this man and took money out of his pocket to feed his family. Now, I don't know if the job is going to be generous enough to maybe, slide him some payment, and, maybe be a little bit understanding to help him until he gets back. But if he has injuries and he has like a job that has benefits, he can maybe get some sort of disability since he's unable to work. Oh, what's going on, Chris? I'm definitely about to mind you up. Exactly. Black opinion. Yeah, they definitely do. Like I said, it's like a Simon Says thing. They yell out all this stuff, and you can't understand what they're saying to the point where they either need closed captioning or they need a translator. Let me see some. Let me see where it says. It says they just tortured this father sitting next to me, said Maupin. The money is based on 2.5 million for each family member. So that's how they came up with the $10 million. So it's $2.5 million for each family member. The dad, the mother, and the 3 daughters. The Phoenix Police Department released more information on Friday and said officers were at the dollar store looking into another shoplifting incident when a store employee told them about the stolen doll. So wait a minute. There was another incident that happened, and this family got caught up in it. So it could very well mean that these cops went after the wrong people. It happens all the time, but you know, they like to say we all look alike, right? Under the dominant society's umbrella, under this dome, we are all seen as one big nigga to them. Hey, I'm all with that Chaos 702 because at 5 months that means the child has the baby has a heartbeat, which means technically it's breathed, it's alive. So yeah, slide another 2.5 mil their way. You're right, 3/5 human. The rest of me, yeah, it is too low. I agree. Hey, Chris, you're definitely right about that because the court of public opinion about the dominant society, let them tell it. They deserve what happened to them. Let me see, where did I leave off? It says police said that the officer walked toward the car, but it drove off. Then the description of the car was broadcast over the radio, and officers found it near 32nd Street and McDowell Road. The police report said officers told Ames and Harper to show their hands. One officer said he drew his gun because Ames began to reach toward the center of the vehicle between the front seats. Harper refused to show her hands because she had 2 children in the car. Police said Harper was loud, verbally abusive, and refused the commands of the officers while she was being detained. Now, notice this is all the words that are coming out of these officers' mouths, but they want us to believe every word they said, but they didn't have the balls or the walls for that woman to come up there and give a quote apology, quote unquote. And I say it in quotes because that apology ain't gonna mean nothing. Yeah, Chris, we actually just ran through her whole little spill. You said if you got to listen to the playback for that. We just ran through her whole thing to the point where I got tired of listening to it. Officers didn't mention kicking Ames while his legs were spread. Gee, I wonder why. It doesn't matter whether they mentioned it or not. We saw it. It says, according to the police report, and before I go any further, the fact that they said that they didn't mention that about the kick lets us know that if this was not recorded, we would have never known he was kicked. We would have had to take his word for it, and of course, they would have tried to throw interference and say he was lying. But it says, according to the police report, Ames was interviewed and admitted to shoplifting from the store as well, and threw a pair of underwear out the window when he was leaving. And see, that part right there is the part that a certain group of people are going to focus and hone in on. Let me read it again. According to the police report, Ames was interviewed and admitted to shoplifting from the store and threw a pair of underwear out the window when he was leaving. That is the part of the story that the people are going to focus on and say, well, looks like the police were justified in what they did. Let me tell you something. Even if he did steal a pair of underwear, that's no means to use the excessive force that they did. They made it seem like this family was committing an armed robbery, that they all was sticking all these people up with guns and face masks on, or like they were robbing a bank or a millionaire's mansion. Salute JLJ 504 HD. Exactly, Carolyn Harvey. That's why I said if he did, allegedly, because you know they'll put anything out there to try to sway the public in their direction. Right, Chris. It does not justify SWAT tactics. You have these school shooters who get dealt with a whole lot better. We just talked about how Dylan Roof drove across state lines after slaughtering 9 people, and before they took him to jail, they stopped off at Burger King. I wonder, did this family get taken to get a meal somewhere? I doubt it. What's going on, Chief Rising Bull Chata? It says his car was impounded because he was driving on a suspended license. See, more stuff that they want to tack on. See, now they're literally, this is the part where they're attacking the character of the man, because they have to find a way to turn the public's view, dark view of the police who did this off of them and put it onto him. They're laying it on thick on him. And I knew they were going to do that. It's the same watch, rinse, repeat thing that they do with all the time with all of us. The store didn't want to prosecute because both, you're right, Al Smith, we do need to hit a 911 call, but see, this is the thing. They probably edited that call. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. It says the store didn't want to prosecute because both stolen items were returned, and that's why no charges were filed. When Harper was, and the thing is, who's to say that the family was going to turn around and take the doll back to the store and say it was a mistake? My daughter accidentally picked up the doll and walked out, and we didn't see her. When Harper was interviewed, she said she was scared when police told her to put her hands up and didn't know what to do. Phoenix Police Chief Jerry Williams, that chick we just heard from, posted a video to Facebook on Friday afternoon reacting to what happened. I, like you, am disturbed by the language and the actions of our officer. I don't know why she said officer, because pretty much all of them, like the ones that I just named in this chat, were very belligerent. She said an internal investigation is underway. I stand by my commitment of transparency. What's up, Art? I stand by my commitment of transparency and accountability as we continue to complete this internal investigation. Internal investigation, aka they are investigating themselves, which means they are going to now find themselves not guilty of any wrongdoing. Like, I can see it happening right now. He said, this is one of the things Tracy Black mentioned, the one that gets terrorized, gets investigated to try and take some heat. Yeah, he's right. He's absolutely right. They are going to throw, if y'all remember Harambe, the gorilla, where the mother was a babysitter and she was watching a bunch of kids, including her own. And the baby ended up inside of the gorilla pit and dragged the boy across the water. They ended up having to put down the gorilla. Them white folks got so upset that they killed that gorilla and saved the child. They had to save the child. So what did they do? They couldn't find anything on the mother. So they go 10 years into the past and bring up some stuff about the dad. Mind you, the dad wasn't even at the zoo. The dad was at work. said, you got to be kidding me. Oh, man. Oh, NJ Progressive Indie. I'm glad you mentioned that. Laura Ingram. Laura just shut up and dribble Ingram did admit that she was a shoplifter when she was in college. And they made it seem like she was this sweet little angel. Yeah, that angel was named Lucifer and fell from heaven and landed into hell. And they literally swept that under the rug. Notice you don't hear anybody talk about her no more. And they always come back, well, see, they ended up dropping the charges against her, or they ended up expunging her record. So, like, at this point, it no longer exists. But if that was one of us, the record could have been expunged, and they will still make sure that it gets talked about. Now, there's one last thing that I wanted to talk about with this, and I'm gonna try to wrap this up and be over by 7. And that's the role that Jay-Z plays in all of this. And I think that's probably one of the latest updates to come from this whole story. Now, we all know that Jay-Z has now become hip-hop's first official billionaire. I didn't do a video about it, but I did talk about it in a previous commentary. I'm not even going to knock the man's hustle. I can't even do it. Like I said, the song This Is America by Donald Glover, there was a line in that song where he said, "Get your money, black man." That's all I can really say about that. Now, the role that Jay-Z and Roc Nation plays in this, I actually like. So, in case y'all don't know, Jay-Z and Roc Nation, which is his brand, are offering legal counsel to this family because they know that the legal fees for this situation here is going to be through the roof and out the atmosphere. Legal fees are no joke. Take it from somebody who had to do something like this when they had their identity stolen and somebody ran up their credit to pay for a cell phone bill through AT&T when the phone I have is through Verizon. Stolen identity is no joke. Trust and believe, it's not. So they're going to offer legal counsel to this family. And you know what? I applaud them for that. And quiet as it's kept, many people do not know that Jay-Z and his team have done stuff like this before in the past. It's almost like he's done it as a silent donor. But see, thanks to social media, you find stuff out. I forgot who he did this for before. And the thing is, the counsel that he has been through his team that he's been given, all the people that he's done it for have been black, whether they are famous or not. I would suggest that maybe they should go into opening their own firm, but then it might become tainted. I said, you know what? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Whatever they got going on right now seems to be a well-oiled machine, and it's just working right now. So stick with that. Let me see if I can pull up an article about that so we can get some more insight with that. Oh God, August. Listen, she's probably doing this to set up an interview because she knows her channel needs the views. Okay, so I pulled up this article from, it's called Enix News Times. It's based out of Phoenix. And it says Jay-Z hires attorney to represent Phoenix family threatened by cop in viral video. So basically Jay-Z found the attorney that is representing the family, and he's pretty much taking care of all the fees. So the family does not have to pay anything out of pocket. So that means if the family successfully gets that $10 million, they're going to get all of it. They don't have to worry about paying any fees or taxes or none of that. He wants to make sure that this family is going to be covered after all of this happens. And who knows, even if this does not go the way that it should, Jay-Z's probably going to still slide this family some money. And even if it goes well, he might still slide them some money. So the fact that they have Jay-Z on their side, this family might be set for the rest of their life. But let me go ahead and read this article. As the country still reels from a disturbing viral video that showed a Phoenix police officer telling a 22-year-old man, "I'm going to put a fucking cap in your fucking head," in front of his family, the victims have just gained an unexpected, powerful ally. Billionaire rapper and businessman Jay-Z, aka Sean Carter, has pledged to aid the family of Drayvon Ames in their legal battle against the Phoenix Police Department. Jay-Z, what's up, TM1? Jay-Z and his label Roc Nation have hired high-powered New York attorney Alex Spiro to assist with the case. The family is already being represented by former Arizona Attorney General Tom Horne and filed a $10 million notice of claim against the city last week. The incident that sparked the case began when Ames' 4-year-old daughter allegedly walked out of a Family Dollar store with a doll that wasn't paid for. Officers around the family followed the family to a location near 36 and Roosevelt Streets where the video was shot. Multiple officers with guns drawn surrounded the family of four, screaming and swearing at the couple in front of the children, demanding they put their fucking hands up. One officer, identified by Phoenix Police Department PD in a report released Friday as Christopher Meyer, threatened the family by saying, "You're going to get fucking shot and I'm going to put a cap in your fucking head." Meyer also attempted to yank Ames' daughter out of his pregnant fiance's hands and placed the child on hot pavement. Spiro, the lawyer hired by Carter, is known for defending celebrities. His notable clientele includes rapper Bobby Shmurda, NBA players such as Matt Barnes and Thabo Sefolosha, and the late former New England Patriots tight end Aaron Hernandez. Carter also retained him earlier this year to assist with 21 Savage's immigration case after the Atlanta rapper was arrested by ICE for allegedly overstaying his visa. Phoenix PD received further criticism over the incident after it issued an incident report on Friday, June 14th, that seemed to contradict the viral video and omit important information. I can't knock him. Some people might have some issues with Jay-Z, but if you ask me, that is what you call being on code. Because he didn't have to do it. He didn't have to do it. Especially since it seems that the clientele that he has are with people within his circle. This family is, up until that point, was not in his circle. They were nobody. So for him, at his status, to reach and, extend that arm out there is very noble on his part. Like I said, we may have some issues with some stuff Jay-Z has said in the past, but thank you, Carolyn Harvey, but nobody's perfect. He basically has saved this family from getting into huge financial straits or turmoil, however you want to say it. So whether or not this family gets the results that they should get, I'm sure with Jay-Z on their side, they're going to be good regardless. So I can't even knock him for doing that. And neither should anybody else, because he's doing it from a genuine place. Unlike someone else who was mentioned in this chat, Oprah Winfrey, we know why she would do it. She's opportunistic as they come. You know that chick actually had the nerve to do an interview with the Central Park 5? When was it? I think it was like a couple nights ago. I didn't watch it. If they were interviewed by anybody else whose name was not Oprah or Gail, I probably would have watched it. After she put out that stuff she said about them years ago. I'm not even gonna get into. That's a whole nother subject. Oprah gonna get hers eventually. She don't know it yet, but she gonna get it. Malik Orama, the reason why they did that interview is because, believe it or not, Oprah Winfrey was the executive producer for When They See Us. So in a way, they have a connection to her through that film, through that miniseries. In case y'all didn't know, now you know. Hey, what's going on, Lisa? But yeah, I'm pretty much almost, yeah, Malika Rahman. Yeah, she was the executive producer for that. But I'm actually about to, I think I covered just about, I'm not sure if I covered every single thing in this stream, but I did cover quite a bit. Oh, he said August, and he said, don't forget Rock Nation helped the little boy in Florida. Oh, I know who you're talking about. What was his name? I know exactly who you're talking about. And one thing I like about what Jay-Z is doing, it doesn't come off opportunistic. It comes off genuine. That's what I like. I like genuine people who are doing this from the heart or because they feel it's the right thing to do and not because they're trying to get ratings. Because had Oprah did it, she would have been trying to set up interviews and everything. And at that point, that's when you're an opportunist. But I think I pretty much covered just about everything when it comes to this story. I've been on here for almost a little over 2 hours. But I'm glad I was able to talk about this because this was, like I said, a loaded story. And as you can see, we spent most of our time talking about that police chief and her incompetent ass. But I'm about to go ahead and end this stream. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Well, you already have because of the live stream. But those of you who are listening to the playback, I will see your comments down below. And I will talk to you all in the next one. As a matter of fact, I think I just uploaded my 5 o'clock video, which was at the same time as this one. Make sure y'all stay tuned for my 9 o'clock upload, because that one right there is going to be like a whole contradiction. Like what happened in my 9 o'clock video that I'm going to upload is going to be like, you're going to look back on this one if you listen to it and be like, wow, complete and polar opposites. But I will talk to you all in the next one.